Bledsoe, the world-renowned super experiencer when it comes to UAPs and orbs and the lady. And the author of UFO of God, he is our special guest today on We Are Not Alone. May K. Dealer here with Queen City News Plus. We are in uptown Charlotte today, the site of the Psi Games. Psi is in psychic. It's a competition between psychics, and it's an opportunity for normal folks to learn how to tune into their intuition. Chris Bledsoe is in town for that. We, of course, are in Charlotte. He's from North Carolina. This was an opportunity to sit down with Chris for a one-on-one interview to see what's on his mind. So, Chris, what is the biggest misconception about you?
I think that the biggest misconception was, for the longest time, I was labeled crazy, right? Because of lights in the sky. I'm talking about these magnificent lights that came in and healed me from Crohn's disease, right? And that that backfired on me and turned into labeling me a fruitcake. And so that was probably the biggest misconception of all. I'm not crazy. It's all real.
Chris, when did you know this was real?
2007.
What was the turning point for you? Did you doubt yourself at first, thinking, what am I seeing? What's going on? Did you ever have doubts?
No, because that's what made it so different with what happened to me. A lot of people have these experiences, they're in their dreams, or they wake up with a mark or something strange, or they see a light go by, and then they always have this little doubt. Was that a plane? Was that a satellite? But with what happened to me was at 5:15 in the afternoon on a sunny evening, these 3 giant balls of fire came out of the sky, took me away for 4 hours. There was a manhunt with 4 other people looking for me. When they brought me back, everybody saw these things, the group with me, and so there was no doubting it because I had other witnesses with me.
So it was a blessing you had other people with you,
Yes.
so that could kind of vet your experience.
100%.
So back then, today you talk about the lady. Back then, it was like a ship, and because I read your book, of course, there were like things with red eyes. Were they like robotic, do you think, or were they living creatures?
I think they're living beings. In fact, it put me on the path of researching biblical angels, right? Because I was out praying, Lord, help me. I was sick. If you read my book, I was in a bad way, and I was ready to give up on life, and crying out to the heavens, these balls of fire appeared. Hence my book, UFO of God. I'm calling on God and UFOs appear, right?
Yes. Why do you think you got help when so many other people are suffering and might be praying, help me, and don't seem to get the help?
You know, I've wondered about that, and been asked a million times. I have no idea why. I think that they knew that they had a person here that would never back down against a lot of odds and a lot of trauma from the community and the church. They came after me, I'm playing with the devil. You're crazy. I was labeled everything, but I would never back down. And I think whoever's up there knew that this day was coming now, to where everybody's starting to see it around the world. Yeah. So there's actually heaven is revealing itself to earth right now. It's kind of coming into our world, and it's going to get louder and louder until we all fully understand we're not here alone.
Chris, before this experience, were you a religious man? And what, if you were, what was your religion? And how do you view religion today?
Well, I was born, raised in the country in a little Baptist church that was built during the Civil War, right? And I grew up a Baptist, one of those where they joke about the guys are smoking on the front steps and then they walk into church, right? And I just had to say that because, but I married a girl from the Pentecostal Holiness Church 43 years ago. Yeah. They're still happily married, and I joined their church. And
doesn't this go against that, though, everything?
Wow, they come after me. They told me, if you ever talk about this again, you're not welcome in our church. And so I walked away from the church. I started seeking every bit of information, scholars, religion I could find, and soaking it up. And I've become stronger with my connection to God than I ever have been, because I can go out and ask it in prayer to come, and here it comes. And it's like,
It's a beautiful feeling.
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I don't feel the need to be under rules and to explain myself.
Do you think religion is man-made?
Yeah, 100%.
Is it to control people that if you don't believe a certain way, you're going to hell?
100%. And let's just say God is real, more real to me now than ever. And it's going to become more real to everyone once you start seeing this yourself. It's starting to come into this world. But man is religion. Man creates you got to wear this, you can't wear pants, you got to wear a skirt, or you got to wear your hair a certain way. You can't eat on Sunday. You can't cook on Sunday. I mean, these are the kinds of things that religions do. And it shouldn't be any rules on what you wear and drink and eat, and pressure on people.
So, Chris,
It's
tell
all
me,
in here.
it's all in here.
Yeah.
Tell me about the lady. Is she Mother Mary for Catholics? Is she Mother Mary? Who is the lady?
Well, you know, I'm a Baptist, right? So Baptists don't know much about the Virgin Mary, although I'd probably make a good Catholic.
Right.
Right.
But do Baptists know about angels, though?
Well, they do know about angels, yeah. But I was never taught about past the manger scene where Jesus and Mary have the child in the manger, and then after that, the Protestant church leaves that. They don't go into anything, where the Catholic church teaches more. But this beautiful lady from heaven came.
And what is she? Can you see through her? Is she the image of like a Mother Mary? Is she opaque? Does she float? I know I read your book, but I'm just fascinated to know more.
She looked, the first time I saw her, was real as you.
Oh.
But she was floating this high off the ground, 4.5 to 5 feet tall at the most. Beautiful, flowing white gown dress with a collar and the sleeves out here, down to her feet, barefooted. Didn't tell me her name. All I saw was the most beautiful lady that changed my life and gave me a gift.
What was the gift?
Well, more than one, but the gift at that point to share the phenomenon with you and I, or with the others personally. So before that, for 5 years before, I struggled bad, wanting to prove myself not crazy, and it all happened. So I was out every night trying to photograph this stuff or film it. It would appear, and as soon as I'd get the camera out, boom, it was gone. So 5 years into it, I went to quit. I'm tired of this. I can't. I've affected my children badly, their schools, and I've ruined my children. That's what I thought. And so I went out Easter Sunday night, Saturday night in 2012, and I shouted to the heavens, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Had you been healed yet at that point, or
I
no?
was healed.
You were already healed
But
of the Crohn's, okay.
Yeah.
Which is, it's not healable, right? I mean,
Right,
supposedly,
no
according to
cure.
man, there's no cure for it.
Exactly.
You had already been healed,
Yeah.
but now you were just frustrated.
I'm frustrated because I'm 5 years into this thing. My daughter was 10 when it happened.
Okay.
3 boys, 13, 15, and 17. 5 years later, the pressure from the church and the community was so great, so bad. They were trying to take me out of the home. Somebody called social services on me. I had to go before the government and prove I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't a danger to my family. This is the kind of stuff I went through. I could never film it, but that night when the lady came, she said, you can't quit. This is your burden you must bear. And if you do this, I will allow you to film our presence, share it on television and with others. And I'm like, okay, and I agreed. I would never tell her no, but I was ready to quit at that time. But after she came, my whole life changed. So things started happening with people's health, animals miraculously bleeding to death in front of 6, 8 people, and I walked up and touched this dog, and this wound vanished in front of. There were witnesses there recording this, watching it. It all happened after she came, and
Are you able to heal today? Is it her presence working through you?
yeah, it's not me doing it.
Okay. Okay.
It's got to be something greater. I just ask in prayer, and I see things happening.
Are these angels or demons? There are people I know, politicians, who have said, oh, these are demons. What are they?
You know, in the Bible, it says over 100 times, to fear not, to fear no evil, or do not be afraid. It's like 150 times, I think, in the Bible. But our churches teach you fear. They teach you you're going to burn in hell if you don't repent, and you don't do this, and you don't do that. Jesus said to fear nothing. So I don't fear anything I can't see. I fear man more than anything. Yeah. I'm more scared to walk down this alleyway down here at night than I am to go outside and look up to heavens and ask God to share his presence. Because this is what I do. When I go outside, I ask to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, if you would share your holy presence with myself and my group. It's with me. And that's when it starts happening. So I have a full understanding with me that they're angelic beings, that they're benevolent. I'm sure there are demons, but I don't think they're physical. I think they're non-physical. Much like in the Bible, the story of Legion, where Jesus cast out 1,000 demonic spirits. And what did they say? Please don't cast us into arid places. We can't survive outside of put us into the pigs. So he put them into the pigs and then caused them to drown themselves, right? They went out and drowned in the lake. But demonic spirits to me are non-physical that possess you, where the light are the angelic beings.
So the orbs that you see, so these are not physical craft. They are living, sentient beings. Why now? And what do you want people to know out there who look at you? You're on the world stage. You're in a beautiful position to influence and make an incredible difference in the world. Why now? And I know that you had said, well, when the red light or the red planet is aligned with the Sphinx and there are missiles over the Middle East, that something's going to happen. Do you still feel that way? Is that going to happen? And I know you've been attacked for that too. People go, well, they said it was going to happen at Easter and it didn't.
Well, it's happening though.
It's happening. Yeah.
What it's in my book.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
And what she told me was in 2026 there would be disclosure.
Mm-hmm. We kind of have it, I guess, already.
The president would announce disclosure. Well, I was right about that.
Yeah.
She told me there would be a war between Israel and Iran before Easter of 2026. I wrote it in my book. I published it. The prediction is all come true. But why did I predict that? What was the reason for all this happening, right? It's simple. We're in World War III, or right there at it. When COVID came in 2019, the lady came again to my home. And at that point, I had rheumatoid arthritis so bad, I was unable to walk more than to the bathroom. My wife pushed me in a wheelchair everywhere. This is in 2019. If I went anywhere, I couldn't walk. And that night during Easter, she came and said that there was a great tragedy that was about to unfold. The suffering of man would be very great, which was COVID. She told me this at Easter. I started telling it. I did 10 interviews from Easter to June saying this is what's going to happen. Yeah. And she said that because of the suffering of man, we're going to come back to this world and wake the people up and share our presence to them and expose the darkness, the evil. Well, there's a lot of that happening too.
Which is very scary, and a lot of people feel hopeless that we can't control anything. There is a lot of negativity and toxicity. We don't want to give it energy. What do you tell people who are suffering inside with fear because they don't know what's next?
Well, I'd say to not fear. The fear that is a cancer. Fear clouds the brain. Live in the present today. Be happy, and know that there's the heavens are have us on their radar. That's what these balls of light are coming. They're not evil aliens like some are trying to label it. They're angelic beings from heaven that are coming into our world because it's much like in World War II. If you remember in World War II when the fighter pilots were going into Germany, the Foo Fighters were on the wingtips, right? These balls of fire. Because we were right near this ultimate disaster. We're back there again, and so the heavens are taking note, and that's what's happening. So that should be joyful to everyone to know that everything we've ever wondered and prayed and dreamed about is really real. It's real.
It's a beautiful thing. The talk about the reptilians and the mantis beings and the small grays and the tall grays. Who are they? Do you know who they are?
I don't, and to me, I've never experienced anything like that. It's always been these glowing balls of light, or this heavenly lady, or these little glowing beings with red eyes. And you asked me earlier about that. So if you read Daniel chapter 10, verse 5 and 6, and it says, he says, and there stood before me this man that was glowing brilliantly, and he had eyes of fire, like fire coals.
It sounds scary, Chris.
It was an angel. His depiction of an angelic being was a small guy glowing with red eyes.
Are they in a different dimension?
Yes.
That's what I think people want to know. Where are they? Are they on the moon? Are they in another galaxy? Are they under the sea? Where are our deceased loved ones? Because I feel my deceased loved ones. I can't see them, but I feel them at times. Are they all in a different dimension?
Well, to me, they preach about heaven being way out there somewhere. I think it's right around us.
Yeah.
I think when our loved ones pass on, they're watching us in this world. I think they're cheering us on. They're trying to help us get through this place that's not so nice. Earth isn't the friendliest place.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Is there a better place for us after this life?
The Bible says there are 7 levels of heaven. I think we're in the lowest level.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
And if you don't do right here, maybe you got to come back again.
Yeah. Oh,
But
boy.
the next levels are...
Chris, you have been exposed to a lot of officials, government officials and people from certain societies and intelligence groups that are just fascinated by you. There are some people who think maybe, and I say this with respect, that maybe you are being controlled by them, that they are using you as a puppet to control a narrative. What do you say to that?
I would say everybody pay attention to what's happening right now, and you'll see how much influence I've had on the government. Because 20 years ago, when I came out with this, I told the world they were spiritual beings. It was a spiritual experience. They were angels. I said that. For 17 years, I was persecuted by the UFO world, and the government wouldn't touch me. But in the last 3 years, if you pay attention to the shift in Washington, and the president and the vice president and the congressman, they're starting to say, well, maybe they're angels and demons, right? Before they were lock, stock aliens. The military said they're aliens. Yeah. That's what they are. Now you got J.D. Vance saying, no, maybe they're not. So I've been behind the scenes sharing this publicly with them. I've had congressmen. I've had congressmen at my home. I've had senators at my home that have witnessed this with me. I've stood in Washington, D.C. with 9 of the highest level scientists and say a prayer, and it appear and fly around the White House and the Capitol building, and made national television, made News Nation. Head of NASA's International Space Station was standing next to. So I've shown it to them, and now the whole thing is shifting more to the spiritual thing. I think it's where it's going to go.
So, Chris, we got to wrap up. What's next for you? How long can you stay on this journey? Is it very emotional for you?
Yeah, I've cried for 20 years. This is the only thing I've ever run across that can make a grown man cry out of joy.
Out of joy.
Yeah.
Do we need to be afraid?
No,
Let's just
we
close
do.
it with, I know we talked about fear before, that it's man-made, but for folks out there who think, well, are there demons or these things are lights? We don't know where they're from, but you're in touch with them. What's next for our country? Do you think that if we have a nuclear incident that these orbs will interfere and protect us? We'll end it with that. Just give me something to hold on to or something to hold on to.
The message the lady gave me was that she basically said there's no set timeline. So if you and I get in a car today and we drive down the highway, if we make a right turn versus a left, the outcome will be different, right? So there's no set time. But the powers that be that want the end of the world to happen are using the book that we have to script it by. So they're making this thing happen, but it don't have to happen.
Because we have free will.
Exactly.
We have free will.
And we have the heavens trying to come in and help us now. And so I see peace, I see light coming in a new world of living, knowing that there's something greater around us.
We're going to end it with that. I love that. Chris Bledsoe, thank you for your time. Bless you, sir. Thank you. Wow, that's heavy. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on this special edition of We Are Not Alone. I'm May K. Beeler with Queen City News Plus. We'll see you next time.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.